What's up, fam? I'm Michael Smith. He's Michael Holly. Welcome to Brother from Another, or the best of Brother from Another. And let me tell you, that's a really challenging endeavor. I mean, Michael, we spend 2 hours a day, 3 to 5 Eastern, 5 days a week on Peacock TV, having what we like to think are pretty interesting conversations and exchanges. To narrow that down to one best of show, whoo, man, you know it's about to be flames.
It's going to be challenging. We don't have short conversations. I think we have conversations that have some impact. We'll let you be the judge. Enjoy what you see here.
This is and has been our national pastime. It may not be the most popular sport in America now, but it's still considered, at least has a ceremonial title of our national pastime. It was for a long time. It's very much America's game, and no game holds its records and statistics more sacred than baseball. So this is nothing short of a big deal. I know that the temptation, and rightfully so, and even baseball acknowledges it. Now, I'll read a few statements in a second, but I do want to get your initial reaction. I know the temptation is to say, well, what took them so long? Damn right, took them long enough. But, it's never too late to do the right thing. It's the centennial celebration for the Negro Leagues. And it caps off a pretty good late-year run for baseball when it comes to progress when you combine it with Kim Ng being hired by the Marlins as general manager, finally. The Indians being dropped as the team name for the Cleveland baseball team, finally. And now recognizing the Negro Leagues as major leagues in their own right. So it's working toward righting a wrong. You can never fully right the wrong of segregation, but it's a major step in that direction. And I love it. I'm so excited and so fascinated to unpack and excited to unpack this story with you, Michael Holly.
I love the Negro Leagues. I don't love this news. I'm conflicted by the news, but I love Negro League baseball and Negro League baseball history on many levels because it's been a part of our culture since the founding of the Negro Leagues, I believe, in 1920. So I've always just been fascinated by the history to the point where one of my favorite plays by the late, great, the genius, August Wilson, Fences. That's one of my favorite plays because of the main character, Troy, and his connection to Negro League baseball. He was a little bitter that he was a great baseball player, but he didn't have an opportunity to practice his craft like other white people in the area in Pittsburgh, like most of August Wilson's plays were based. So August Wilson and Troy in Fences. I used to rock Homestead Grays hats and the Pittsburgh Crawfords and kind of walk some of those spaces. As you know, I went to college in Pittsburgh, so I would walk some of those spaces to figure out where exactly did the Homestead Grays play, where were the Pittsburgh Crawfords playing. The black newspaper in Pittsburgh was a huge part of baseball history. So every step, I appreciate the history of it. And because I appreciate the history of it, I don't love the news today because you can't take it back. You can't take it back. I don't know, I don't know if it's Major League Baseball's place to say that the Negro Leagues were Major League Baseball. Maybe we don't have the privilege of saying either league was the major league when neither league was able to be inclusive. One league was a response to the other's racism. So the Negro Leagues existed because Major League Baseball refused to be inclusive. That's one. And I got in a lot of trouble. I shouldn't say trouble. I got a lot of pushback right around 2000 when Major League Baseball came out with its all-century team. You remember this. A lot of people remember it because that was the opportunity where Jim Gray kind of fronted on Pete Rose. Like, hey, Pete, you're on the all-century team, but hey, you want to take this opportunity to admit that you bet on baseball? And Pete Rose was like, yo, Jim, how you gonna roll up on me like this, right? So that was one of the memorable exchanges from the all-century team right around 1999, 2000. But I wrote, as a columnist for the Boston Globe, I wrote at the time, Major League Baseball does not have the right to have an all-century team when for half of the century you eliminated black players.
Yeah.
How you gonna have an all-century team? You can't.
Yeah.
You're going to have the century, half century. You can have a half century team. You cannot have an all century team when you didn't let everybody involved. So I just feel like I understand. I always thought the Negro Leagues were a legitimate baseball league. How could they not be? Common sense tells you, of course. And look what happened. Look what happened. As soon as Major League Baseball was integrated, what happened? Your Rookie of the Year is Jackie Robinson. And you had MVPs like Roy Campanella and Don Newcomb. You had all these great players getting it done, great black players who were denied. Years before, Hank Aaron getting it done, all these people. So you're not, I know.
You know what, Michael? You know what I love about that? Bravo. And I mean that because it's like you're one of the most passionate people I know. I can feel the fury here in Connecticut. And I get it, man. And I feel you on that. No, I do. I feel you on that. Because it feels like, I mean, just to put it bluntly, well, you know, white people that tell us that we were just as good at baseball as they were. You know, like, I got you, brother. I got you. I feel, like, seriously, we there on that, right? I was thinking about this earlier. Is it fair for me to compare this, obviously, you know, two significantly different projects, but nonetheless reflective of the racial history of this country in general, but specifically the sports? When I read this today, what came to mind was this undertaking of designating the Negro Leagues as major leagues and incorporating the statistics. This could be baseball's equivalent of the 1619 Project by the New York Times, in that it just reframes the conversation or attempts to reframe the conversation around the sport's history for the masses in the mainstream. But I understand exactly what you're saying because I struggled for the longest time when we came out of the steroid era, and whether it's, you know, Bonds or Clemens or anybody else, McGuire, anybody that has not gotten into the Hall of Fame, you know, I understood that while we all enjoyed the steroid era, and all benefited from the steroid era, when it came time to punish players who either were proved to have been or suspected to have been involved in performance-enhancing drugs, I was like, so wait, we're gonna assign an asterisk next to certain player stats when, to your point, for most of baseball's history to that point, it had been segregated. We don't even know, you know, for the most part, what the best players in Major League Baseball would have done against Negro League players, or whether they'd have been as good. I mean, one of Troy's best rants was about, I think it was whoever the right fielder was for the Yankees, you know, that he couldn't, you know, hold a candle to Troy and some of the other Negro League players, you know. So I get your frustration over, oh, here's Major League Baseball, all of a sudden bestowing upon the Negro Leagues, you know, the sacred, you know, you guys are official now. I totally understand it. But nonetheless, what I do love about it, though, Michael, is it sparks these kinds of conversations, and it sparks perhaps more interest, more curiosity, frankly, more work when it comes to, and this centennial year, evaluating, discussing, debating, and really just elevating the rich tradition and history of Negro League Baseball. As far as the big picture and what this means for both the Bucks and for basketball, so I think it is a blessing for the game because I don't think everybody should have a one-way ticket to a major market, once they reach free agency. And I think we had this conversation before that, super teams are what the league has been built on. You know, the league's history is written by dynasties and super teams, and oftentimes those teams do reside in major markets like LA or, Boston or Miami.
Chicago,
of course.
Yep.
But I think it's great once in a while for a guy to decide, no, I'm fine in a small market. I'm fine in a city that, that is not a major media metropolis. And I want to finish what he started. And that's not to begrudge anybody who leaves Oklahoma City or who leaves Cleveland. I'm fine with players deciding that they want LA or they want Miami or they want New York. That's fine. Make your own personal decision. But it is refreshing. It is refreshing in this day and age to see a guy re-sign in a place like Milwaukee and say, hey, you know what? I'm committed to the organization that's been committed to me. You kind of laughed at me a little bit when I talked about the general manager teaching him how to drive and the personal connection that he had with the organization. Loyalty means something to him. That's not to say that guys who leave are disloyal. That's not to say that guys who leave are disloyal. I just want to be clear on that, Michael. I'm not calling them disloyal.
Yeah.
But I am saying guys like Giannis are a breath of fresh air when everybody seems to have wandering eyes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, maybe I laughed because I need to be a better person, Michael. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm too cynical. And I'm just so used to people, these professional athletes, getting to a certain point in their career and saying, okay, I'm done. I'm all good. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I really didn't. And it is. Like all the parts of the Giannis story, this is we can actually circle back to that story and take all cynicism out of it. He didn't have to sign this deal right now. This deal would be available to him. Same contract.
Same money. Yep.
Next year. Same money. And you can't say, well, what if he gets hurt? So what? If Giannis gets hurt, anybody, it's not like Milwaukee's going to say, well, see you later. We don't want you anymore. Any team in the NBA would take a hurt Giannis and sign a hurt Giannis to a bunch of money. So he did it. And I think the reason, and we got to hear from him, but I think the reason he did it is he knew he wanted to be in Milwaukee.
Yeah, okay. It's a win for small markets. Yes, there's hope. Look, we should have known when Giannis told Chris Haynes right after the finals, and I know people say things in a moment, you can't ever really hold them to it, and they change their mind, things change. But he said some people see a wall, they go the other direction. I go through it. Okay. Giannis is different. We always knew Giannis was built different. We talked about his connection with his team. We talked about what's important to him, that he wasn't a guy that was going to go join somebody else's team so much as he – look, I think the Athletic article pointed this out. He was never one of these recruiting guys. In fact, he wasn't even playing basketball with these dudes in the offseason. The only person he did it with was the aforementioned late, great Kobe Bryant.
Okay. And when I brought that up before, when I said before he signed, I said, do we know who Giannis is cool with? Because if you don't know who he's cool with, if you don't know who he's cool with, then you can't say he's going here. A lot of these cases, just look at, they work out together in the offseason. They were in the Olympics together. They grew up together. They went on the same AAU team. There's some connection, same agent, same, like whatever it is, same commercial. With Giannis, there was none of that conversation. And maybe that should have been the first clue that he was coming back. Well, it's interesting.
But he was cool with some people because they were texting him.
Yeah.
So.
But isn't it interesting, Mike, they've tied their future to the centerpiece is Giannis. Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday.
Lopez, yeah.
But Drew Holiday, that's where they gave up a lot. That's where they gave up the most to get him. It's amazing. I like him. I respect him. I just never thought that anybody would give up. You know what? It's not three picks. It's 5.
It's 2 pick swaps. Yeah. Right.
So that's 5 draft picks.
But this is what I was saying when they made the
Drew
trade.
Holiday.
You're not getting Drew Holiday. Yes, you're getting Drew Holiday. Yes, you're getting your favorite player's favorite defender. Michael, we just talked about it. And this is the brilliance.
Are you telling me you don't get Giannis if you don't get Drew Holiday?
Precisely.
This
was the brilliance of the Bucks' approach to this. If they don't go out and be aggressive and get Drew Holiday, they lose Giannis. So when they're looking at their draft the next few years, and those picks are going to New Orleans, not only do they have Drew Holiday, at least for this year, we'll see down the road, but they could also rest assured that we traded those 5 picks, those 3 picks and those 2 pick swaps for Giannis Antetokounmpo, because otherwise he's gone. But because I'm closer to you than I am to Aaron Rodgers, I need to know what's the beef. Because every time I bring up Rodgers, and I'm about to, about to get into his MVP candidacy.
I'm about to beat you to it.
You always snap back. What is it?
I'm going to beat you to it. Aaron Rodgers is a guy I have no problems with, and Aaron Rodgers is a guy that if I had it, I don't have anything here to hand him. I don't have any hardware, but if I had some hardware for him, I'd hand him the trophy right now because Aaron Rodgers is my MVP. That's the real MVP. Aaron Rodgers, MVP of the 2020 NFL season. He is having perhaps the best season of his career, and that's crazy because he's had a decorated career. Mike, he's had a nice little career for himself.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But he is. I think he's the MVP. Straight up. No joke. No cap. He's an MVP player.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I expected an argument. From you. I expected an argument. Well, so that would be music to Aaron Rodgers' ears. Here's what he said yesterday about the potential of taking home his third MVP award.
Well, Bill, there's not many guys that have won 3, so that would definitely mean a lot. I feel like I've been in the conversation, a number of years outside of the 2 that I've won. We're talking about in 12 when AP went nuts against us in the last game of the year. I had a pretty good year that year. Obviously, in 16, we made our run and led the league in passing touchdowns. Didn't really get a sniff for some reason that year, but I definitely felt like I was in the conversation. It's nice to be back in the conversation.
Come on, bro. Come on. Okay. All right. Look, I got no problem with him. Hey, don't be keeping your own stats.
Keep the receipts. No, see, I love that. That's why that's my
it's out
dude
there.
right
It's
there.
Public. Like I can find your stats, Aaron. Aaron, I can find your stats right now.
Tired of being humble. It's like let's call it like it is. Like I absolutely love. What?
Hey, Mike, the only thing he missed was a sniff. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Not a bad year. For some reason, maybe the sports writers, the voters, and all their wisdom, I don't know. Maybe his first year watching football. I'm not sure. I thought I was pretty good. Didn't you? You saw it, right? Come on, don't keep your own stats. You're one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And you got to win MVP this year.
He can't say it? He can't remind us? Please, no, Aaron. See, you were doing so well. That's Aaron. That's the beauty of Aaron Rodgers. This is Mr. Discount Double Check. Aaron Rodgers is not here, to be humble and to downplay his achievements and his brilliance and his greatness. This man he's already got 535 touchdown pass seasons, most all time. He's about to hit 40. And if he passes 45, it'll be a career high at age 37.
That's what I'm saying.
With his so-called heir apparent on the sidelines. I think he should get it over Mahomes.
I want to give him all the credit that he deserves, and I want to point out all the amazing things that he's done. And I always stand up for quarterbacks who don't get just the obvious, I'll put it that way, the obvious support from the front office when it comes to first-round picks. I'll just use a Peyton example. The Peyton example is what every quarterback wants, right? You're in Indianapolis, and they draft first-round picks. They give you first-round picks at running back. They give you first-round picks at tight end, at wide receiver, at tackle. They go all over the offense. They just go all in on offense and make sure you are supported. They give you an offensive coordinator. He's there sometimes as a traffic cone with headsets on because you're the offensive coordinator too. So they just open it all up and let you do the thing. Green Bay has not done that for Aaron Rodgers. He still has not had a first-round wide receiver.
Actually, so what? That's a played-out narrative.
So what?
Devontae Adams was taken in the second round, and whoever was taken ahead of Devontae Adams that year is probably not as good as Devontae Adams. I don't care what round they took him in. I don't like them taking a quarterback in the first round.
Ooh, I'm
not. I'm saying
I'm tell you why.
Who cares what round they were taken in? Did they give him good players?
Yeah.
Who cares what round?
Oh, they're not good. Okay, Devontae Adams.
Adams is not good?
You asked me what issue I have with Aaron Rodgers, at the end of this conversation, you're going to say, now you're disrespecting Davante Adams. And I'm sorry that you and the Adams household feels this way, but hey, it ain't personal. It's facts. Quarterbacks make wide receivers. Wide receivers don't make quarterbacks. Quarterbacks make wide receivers. Davante Adams is a talented guy, talented enough to be drafted in the NFL. But Aaron Rodgers made him. Aaron Rodgers made him to the best wide receiver in the league. I would guess that if you ask quarterbacks, if quarterbacks were interested in personnel, and you sat them down in personnel rooms and said, all right, we're going to let you make this pick. We're going to let you make our first round pick. I would guess that quarterbacks would go for wide receivers earlier. And then, you know what? And Mike, you might be right. Maybe Aaron Rodgers sitting in the Green Bay Packers draft room says, hey, it's Davante Adams. I want to draft him in the first round. He's not a second-round player. He's a first-round player. Maybe.
Right. And would he therefore be a better player because he was taking a few picks earlier? He'd probably be the same player.
I'm not saying that.
What I'm saying to you is, that's what I'm saying. Because you're using a designation where somebody guessed what they would be to say how good they are. But anyway,
because the designation,
what I'm saying is,
the designation does matter throughout NFL history.
It's a projection. And it's a scouting projection.
But it's a scouting projection
on it, just like they get it right.
Sure, they do. But there have been fewer mistakes if you're going to the highest level of football, where Aaron Rodgers will be one day, first-round pick himself, in Canton, Ohio. If you look in Canton and you look at the players in Canton, there are more high draft picks in Canton than low draft picks in Canton.
That's not true. That's not true. I'm telling you, that's not true.
Wow.
Let's put something on it. Okay, we will find somebody to research this. That is not true. I know that's not true. I don't know the numbers, but that's not true. Sure as my name is Michael, if I'm lying, I'm flying. That is not true that there are more first-round draft picks in Canton, Ohio than non-first round. So we're talking about first round versus non-first round. So I get rounds 2 through 7. That's what you're telling me?
You mean to tell me you think there are more sixth-round picks in the Hall of Fame than first-round picks?
I don't know the exact. I don't know for sure. Specifically, the sixth round.
This is why I'm clear what we're saying.
There are. Okay, cool.
There are, for rounds in the Hall of Fame, there are more first rounders represented in the Hall than there are second rounders represented in the Hall, than there are third rounders represented in the Hall, than there are fourth rounders represented in the Hall.
I'm pretty sure
you don't believe that? Wow.
I'm not just I don't believe it. I'm almost certain that's not the case. Give it to us. So 107 have been selected in the first round, have been enshrined. What about the second round?
Oh, you know what?
In the third round.
Dude.
35 in the second? Ooh. Okay. Keep going.
This is not good. This is not going well.
This is not good. that Dave Chappelle, this is not good.
This is not going well. Because listen,
still going.
Ain't that many people in the Hall of Fame. Come on, man. Come on. We're going to move on.
Your logic is undeniable. Your logic is undeniable, okay? And I may take this L, but I'm telling you.
This is not really going well. There's 22 in round 3.
35 in round 2.
I love you.
Who's doing this research? Wait, who's doing this research?
You're a fan.
Who is this doing this research?
Oh, who is this? You go. Don't do this. Don't do
this. Who's doing this research?
Don't do it.
Who's doing this?
Now you're going after researchers.
Wait. No. Who's doing this research? Who's doing this? Wait. Hold on. I won Georgia by a lot. Okay? Frankly, I did win this argument, okay?
Chris, I am a terrible shooter in basketball. You know what my shot is? My one shot is a layup. So the victory over Michael Smith was a layup here. I said to Michael Smith, listen to this. This is how I got the victory. I said, hey, Michael, there are more Hall of Famers from the first round than there are from the second round. That's it. That's all I said. He disputed me.
I told him I wasn't sure. About that.
Oh, no.
And I said,
you're wrong.
I think you're wrong
and
about that.
It's closer than you think.
And then I said, if you're right, it's going to be close. And I think the number is 107 to 35. But I stopped pointing there, Chris. I said, but wait, do I get second round through seventh round? Because I know I'm right about this. I know so I was wrong, but I know what I'm talking about. That's what I told Michael Holley.
Well, I think you were probably where I'll stick up for you.
Thank you. Wait, look. That's what I was trying to say. Wait, Chris, look at the screen. That's what I'm trying to say. First round 128, right. Second round 300 to 179. That's kind of that's what I was trying to say, more or less, Michael Holley. I didn't say it that way, but that's what I had in my head. It didn't come out that way.
In your defense, too, take away the Hall of Fame conversation and all that. The success rate of second and third rounders is actually better than first rounders. Now, that doesn't mean Hall of Fame, but if you really break down the numbers, that's what it'll show you. And to add to that, man, I knew you couldn't shoot the ball, Michael Holley. I didn't need to see you to shoot it. I could just look at you.
Hey, man. Just because my best player asked to be traded doesn't mean I gotta trade him. Especially when he's got 2 years left on his contract. If I'm Houston, I've lost Russell Westbrook, I've lost Daryl Morey. I tell you who I'm not gonna lose. James Harden, welcome to Houston. Welcome to your new home. Same as your old home. Houston, I'll tell you, there's a player much better, rest in peace, player much better than James Harden who once asked for a trade. His name is Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant asked to be traded. He's a better player in a better organization, asked to be traded, and the Lakers did not trade him.
They said, go sit down somewhere.
And he spent his entire career as a Laker. James Harden played for Oklahoma.
Hopefully,
I know he played for Oklahoma City before.
Yeah,
he can't spend his whole career as a Rocket,
yeah,
but he can spend the rest of his career as a Houston Rocket. Why would they trade him? You tell me, why do you feel like you need to trade James Harden right now?
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest, at one point I thought they did. No, I'm saying, I mean, admittedly, if you may remember, or viewers of our fine program may remember, at one point I thought they did. I didn't think they, a disgruntled face of your franchise, wearing a frown was not beneficial to you, especially, when he hadn't shown up to training camp at the time. I'm like, how's this work? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I thought it was untenable, and I thought they should have lowered their asking price, but that's why I'm here, and Rafael Stone is there, Stephen Silas is there, because they did the right thing by not caving to his temper tantrum, which brings me to the last and money quote from the aforementioned Tim McMahon article on ESPN.com I thought was rather apropos. Quote, "You can't get mad at your kid if you let him eat candy every night, and then suddenly one night, you don't, and they throw a tantrum," an ex-Houston assistant coach said.
Oh, come on.
"You're the one who let them eat candy every night. The Rockets turned the organization over to James, and now they have to live with the fallout." So the parent in me said, the parent in me, I was like, you know what? I feel that, because
isn't that what we talked about with you had the Christmas list example.
But you know how it is with your kid. But I got another one though. So you know how when you're a parent, I think Ryan Reynolds may have alluded to this in the Change Up, great movie with him and Jason Bateman. But he was like, when another kid is misbehaving, in public, got bad parents. When it's your kid, they just need a nap, And so you got 3 beautiful children, Robinson, Beckham, Ava. I got Savannah, Mason, Maya. All of them at one point or another have, or still do, as the case may be, throw a tantrum. And you know how I deal with tantrums? You just got to ride that sucker out. Because eventually they're going to wear themselves out. Eventually they'll fall asleep. Eventually they're just going to fall asleep. They'll stop. I think about that phrase that people often throw out, that elections have consequences. And a lot of times we say it in the moment and thereafter until the next election. But what we're seeing play out, and what we've seen, Michael, is that the 2016 election continues to have consequences and reverberate during and beyond the traditional quote-unquote peaceful transition to power. And I think I told you, we've been focusing on the peaceful part, which we'll get to in a second, but Trump's got no designs on any kind of transition of anything. Whether he's in the White House or not, he's going to hold on to as much power and authority with the Republican Party as he can, which brings me to just my major observation this weekend in watching the Supreme Court throw out the frivolous lawsuit, a lawsuit in name only, because they're up to almost 60 lawsuits in court with no evidence yet. I mean, at some point, you go to court, you got to bring evidence. So the Supreme Court throws out the lawsuit from Texas and the 18 attorneys general and the 126 GOP House Republicans who decided to sign on with this lawsuit. You got people suggesting, I think the GOP guy in Arizona is like, oh, be ready to die for this cause of President Trump remaining in the White House. And then talk of secession being thrown around. The truth of the matter is, Michael, the Republican Party has seceded in ideology, has long since seceded ideologically from the rest of us. People often talk about there being two Americas. We're all, at this point, we're not Americans. There are Americans, and then there are Republicans. And yes, I'm intentionally painting with a broad brush when I say that.
I don't agree.
I don't need you to agree. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are alarming of people who do not view this election and President-elect Biden's election as legitimate within the Republican Party. It's alarmingly high. We live in two different worlds is what I'm saying right now. And when your Republican elected officials are committing an act of treason right now and are working and are signing on with this farce to destroy our democracy, that's un-American to me. In my opinion, that's un-American. So there are Americans here, and then there are Republicans. I don't know who's watching or who's listening, where you fall in, but if you fall in line with what's going on with the president saying it's not over and continue to try to challenge the election, who knows what else he's got up his sleeve, even though today is a day where it's certified by the Electoral College. If you're on that side, you're not an American as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what your citizenship says.
Yeah, I think that's tough. I can't go that far. I just look at a few things here. A few things with what Stephen Miller said. One, the argument that he's making there on TV, they have refused to make in court. So they haven't made that argument in court. They haven't. They just haven't.
They got nothing to back it up with. They make that outside the court. It's true.
and so I think it's unfortunate. I think it's deceptive to do that. And they know they have great influence. They have millions of people who listen to them, who follow them. And so you're doing something outside of the courtroom that you wouldn't dare bring into the court because then it goes away. That's one. Two, in a lot of cases, you've asked people who are on your side to step in and kind of overthrow or to decertify, so to speak, the election. I mean, is there going to be another recount in Georgia? Are we going to go to 4 now? I mean, how many recounts can you do in Georgia? How many times can you go to Brian Kemp and say, hey, what can you do for me? And what I'm saying is that there are people who are Republicans, who are supporters of Donald Trump, but he has moved away from them once they won't go that extra step. He looks at them as enemies.
If you're committed to Carson Wentz and you do want to keep in my solution that I said a couple of times last week was they're going to have to trade Jalen Hurts. They can't have a viable alternative behind him. No different than they couldn't keep Nick Foles after Nick Foles won the Super Bowl and he became a free agent. They couldn't choose Foles over Wentz. Likewise, if they're committed to Carson, they can't come back with both next year. So I was like, the solution is, again, if you're committed to Carson, barring Jalen Hurts balling out of control the rest of the way, you trade Jalen Hurts, to give Carson Wentz his peace of mind that he seems to be lacking despite his contractual commitment. Well, Jalen Hurts, so far so good, 160 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, They beat the Saints in the #1 defense. He's starting against Arizona. He's probably going to start for the rest of the season. So unless this was a mirage, and I don't think it is out of Jalen Hurts.
Look at that bottom by Marcus. Look at that bottom headline by Marcus Hayes. Come on, Marcus. Come on, man.
But I'll just tell you this. The thing that I got wrong was the idea that if Jalen, follow me here. Let's play this out. If Jalen Hurts plays well the rest of the way and takes him to the playoffs even, or just looks like the real deal with a smaller sample size, and the Eagles do what I said and trade Jalen Hurts in order to make Carson Wentz more comfortable, it'll actually have the opposite effect. The ghost of Jalen Hurts will haunt Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. So if Jalen Hurts plays like this, not only is he playing himself into the starting job, but he's without question, contract or not, playing Carson Wentz out of town. Hello, Frank Reich.
No, I got you. Look, they've got options. Your plan was a good one. Chris Sims agreed with you last week when you said, hey, if you really want to make this about Carson, then you trade the chip that is Jalen Hurts. Well, you can also flip this around. If you wanted to make this about Jalen, you can trade the chip, and you can trade the chip that is Carson Wentz. It might be as simple as a bad fit now in Philadelphia. It could be a mental thing that happens. Yeah. I hate that we never bring that up in sports, as if these, especially in football, as if these guys, these helmeted guys with shoulder pads, these tough guys, don't have any kind of issues that they're dealing with based on what their employers are saying or doing. So I think it could be, very well could be a mental thing with Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, and he could go somewhere else and be fine. I expect it. I think he's a really good quarterback.
It's got, Wentz you mean, or Hurts?
Yeah, Wentz. Wentz is a really good quarterback, and we haven't seen the best of him. He's 27, and he's got a lot of good football left in him. He may not have good football left in Philadelphia. And also, just keeping it totally 100, I may have an agenda, because I think he looked good in New England.
Only defensive players to win AP NFL MVP. Lawrence Taylor, Alan Page. That's it.
Wow. So
what we've said.
In other words, we haven't had a defensive winner in 34 years.
Good math.
That's crazy.
Defense wins championships, but it doesn't win MVPs. And I get the premium that we place on quarterbacks. It's the most important position in the game, if not all of sports. And I know that it's easier to appreciate the quarterback. The statistics are much more obvious to even the casual fan. But I just find it hard to believe, as much as I love Aaron Rodgers, and we all love Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes for that matter, you're not going to tell me that anybody is better at his position than Aaron Donald is. Like, if you ask NFL players, they will tell you that he is the best player in the NFL, regardless of position. And when I look at a guy who's leading the league with 12.5 sacks, listen at this, Michael. I got this from The Athletic today. He's been double or triple teamed on 70% of his pass rush snaps, and yet leads the league with a 23% win rate. But it gets better. This is my favorite part. Top of your head, how many times do you think he's drawn a holding call this year? You got to keep in mind, holding penalties are down. How many holding calls?
How many actual times has he drawn a holding penalty? And they played about 13 games?
And 707 snaps.
Okay. Ooh, goodness. I'm going to say 20.
You were close insofar as that you got one of the digits right. Two. One on a pass rush. The likelihood that he has only been held twice this year, despite being double and triple team, leading the league in sacks at 12.5. And
that's crazy.
It's like, is he not as valuable as anybody in the game for what he does for that Rams defense, which is one of the best defenses in the league this year? He's as dominant as anybody. And I guess,
hold on, let me make sure we get this right.
Yeah.
When you said, so I'm talking about, you're not talking about the times that he has held somebody. You're talking about the times that he has been held?
Correct. Twice.
Come on.
That a flag has been thrown and it's holding offense twice.
Wow. I find
on a player blocking Aaron Donald, okay? And I'm saying that for him to be not even in the conversation for MVP, because the odds are Mahomes, Rodgers, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry. Aaron Donald's not defensive player for me is not enough. Defensive player of the year for me is not enough. I feel like we need to figure out a way. Same as we have this conversation annually about NBA MVP. Is it best player in the game? Is it the best player, who had the best regular season? Because inevitably with the NBA, we're always debating it retroactively come playoff time when the regular season MVP doesn't win the whole thing, right? It's the LeBron Giannis thing from last year and so on and so forth. In this case, it's like MVP, automatically a quarterback award. Maybe it's a running back award in a special year. Never a defensive award, except for twice. I feel like we need to kind of rename this, reimagine this process.
Yeah.
Something
reimagine
to right the wrong that is eliminating Aaron Donald from consideration. Hey, man. Coach Prime.
Here it comes.
Deion Sanders.
This is what we talked about, right?
A kid named Dejon Warren, the number 4 ranked junior college football prospect. He's a 4-star prospect, the number 1 cornerback in the JUCO rankings, number 2 cornerback overall. Flipped his commitment from Georgia to Jackson State. My man said, if I'm going to play cornerback, I'm going to play for arguably the greatest cover corner of all time. We knew if Deion wasn't going to do anything else at Jackson State, he was going to be able to recruit. This is so much fun. And they had 9 commitments so far from Jackson State in this class, 2 4-star recruits, and of course,
his son.
Shedeur Sanders.
His son,
exactly.
Yeah, his son is one of them.
Did I pronounce his name right, Shedeur? I think I apologize if I didn't. ESPN 300 quarterback out of Cedar Hill, Texas, of course, going to Jackson State. So shout out to the Jackson State Tigers. Shout out to Coach Prime. Doing work on National Signing Day, Michael Holley.
Didn't you have to go back and just read that several times? Flipped his commitment from Georgia to Jackson State. I just kept looking at that, going from Georgia to Jackson State. And it makes all the sense because not only because of what Deion Sanders did in the pros, but just his personality. I mean, he's really built for it. If he wants to go all out, I would say get 2 or 3 people on the staff that you just completely trust, that you completely trust them to put in game plans and to get into the film and your X's and O's people. And just be Prime. Just go out and be Prime. There ain't no shame in it. Just go out and do your thing. If you are just Prime, you're going to wind up with like number 25 or 30 recruiting class, which is saying a lot for Jackson State. I don't know what the all-time, like in the last 30 years, what the highest ranking Jackson State has had in recruiting. Yeah. I'm guessing they've never been in the top 30 with recruits.
Do you know what I was thinking about? This is what I thought you were gonna take it from me because we're often on the same wavelength. You know what I was thinking about when I saw this, right?
What's this?
So as much as we talk about franchise mode, I mean, you can't talk about franchise mode, especially back in our day. This is the PlayStation 2 days, without talking about NCAA football. And I don't know if it was 2003 with Joey Harrington on the front or 04 with Carson Palmer on the front, whichever one it was in dynasty mode.
Uploading the class.
Uploading the class. See, these kids don't know about that, Michael. These kids do not know about uploading the prospects from NCAA football and naming them joints all the way and uploading them to Madden for your franchise mode. That's how we used to do it back in the day. Back when we used to walk to school uphill both ways, barefoot in the snow, We used to build our classes and recruit, and I'll never forget this Central Florida. Before Central Florida was good in real life, dog. Remember that dynasty I had in Central Florida? And I was competing with Miami and Florida State.
See, this is this is why you got to stop.
They were coming to me.
That's why you gotta
They were
stop.
coming to me. They were all coming to me
you.
at Central Florida.
I'm coming to your house.
Florida Gators,
Socially distanced visit to your house, masked up, and I'm taking it all. I'm taking it all,
I haven't
man.
played it. I don't play it anymore.
I know you haven't, but
I have it. I don't play it. I leave it. Mason plays it. I don't play it.